And so, welcome back to the continuation of my corrupt coworkers who corroborated with an ex and made my life in the year of 2017, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2016, an actual and living hell. In addition to, guys, it's astounding when I think about it now. But it's like when you're in the eye of the storm and you can't see out of it, like, and so now that I'm out of it, I can actually look back at it and like it makes me look at myself like how did I get through that? you know? And so moving on to the next coworker, we're gonna go right into Nannoue, who was also a cardinal sign, a Libra. So cardinal as an initiatory, self-starting, motivated leader, all of those characteristics culminated by the repetition of so many of the same sign, different expressions, but the same energy, like the same end goal. And then how this became, the whole job became a square for me. Um, but yeah, Nannoue, who is a Haitian, um, a younger girl who was really, really serious. And I recall asking my dark sided Sagittarius man, who was a Haitian himself, like why she was so serious. And he was like, oh, she probably raised all of her siblings and had a lot of responsibilities coming up. And that's just how Haitian girls are. But to come to find out that no, she was the only child. And um, I guess was raised up in a strict upbringing, but either which way, was just serious demeanor. And so was in school at the time, also working. The high-end grocery store was her first job, and she was moving up fast. Okay, and so the same way that she trained me, I don't think I mentioned that yet. So she trained me on my first day and was really, really cold with me, but gave me the basics. And toward the end of the training session, we talked a little bit about astrology, and I told her I thought she was a Capricorn. She reminded me of my mother, and was like, "No, what make you think that?" And I was like, "Oh, because Libras are usually so fun-loving, so, um, so, uh, life of the party, bubbly personality, laughing, and so I just didn't get that vibe from you. Now, on the flip side, at the same time, and on the shadow of the dark-sided Libra woman, I feel like there's an inverted element to those positive attributes where if she's a jealous, because I feel like it would take a Libra woman to be dark sided, to be embracing the jealous characteristics. And so the way that we're like beams of light and gravitate people to us, and our hostesses and humorous, are the same ways that we could turn our energy dark, be distant, be cold, and just be off-putting to people. And so that was how she was toward me. Shortly thereafter, she moved up to customer service, and so it seemed like she was comfortable with me so long as she was in a superior position to me. And so there came a day that we could dress how we wanted to, and not how we wanted to, but just out of our regular dress code, and wear some purple shirts. It was for a charity or something, black jeans, and whichever sneakers we wanted to wear, so long as they were a certain color. And I decided to wear a color of sneaker that didn't fit the dress code. They were green when they should have been blue or black. And so I remember seeing her that morning, talking to her as usual. Like I say, she already had a serious disposition, but this morning in particular was downright cold, short with me, and even left the break room really fast. And I was like, what's up with her? But, I was dressed really cute, really flirty that day, having fun, loving my job. I love my job. And I remember getting in trouble that day over my shoes being sent home early, and feeling like she had something to do with that because nobody else noticed or paid attention. The only time I felt like it was noticeable was in that break room. And so that was that. When I moved up to customer service, there was no longer the friendly disposition, or at least a small talk. Her energy had become straight cold. Lo and behold, they put me with her again to be trained. My first trainer, my first day in customer service. She was non communicative, gave me the basics, if that, any additional questions I had, like, was really cold, really short, really threatened, to the point where I recall mentioning something either by day 2 or 3 to management that what is wrong? Like, do I need to be trained by somebody else? I don't feel like I can ask her questions. I don't feel like she's receptive. And them calling her back into the manager's office, and it being she and I, and me just having in my head in that meeting that I should be fine. Like, this shouldn't turn negative. Like, at least we'll be able to get whatever it is out, and we'll be able to move on, and I'll be able to get trained. She was so defensive. I cannot recall word for word. I won't try to paraphrase. But in so many instances was just at me no matter what I said. So the way she was at me made me direct more of my conversation to the managers. Like, I don't know what's going on with her, but just at me. And all I remember feeling was like, wow, they're not really trying to stop this energy. They're not really trying to stop her. You know, she's just at me. And so I came to find out sometime later she was like their pet. You know, she could do no wrong. And the one immediately up under them. And so the one that had probably done a lot of dirt, done a lot of talking, whatever, to get to where she was, and had a lot of influence even over them, to where them seeing her not feel me like this gave them a feeling about me as well, probably backed up by fucked up feelings they already had. And what I found in that situation is that they were entertained. There was no, and I knew, okay, like, okay, we'll get it together, girl, and at least, you know, go out and be able to train her. They let her off the hook, that she didn't have to train me. They moved me to some other girl named Sarah, and each person they moved me on to seemed to be on some agenda type shit, where they would not teach me anything, and everything I learned I had to learn it myself and through the customers. Okay, no matter how much I would talk about this to management, nothing would be done about it. And it came a point where it was so tense and hostile, when certain co-workers got together, I already knew that my day was going to be hell, and I wasn't going to be helped in any capacity. Now, mind you, on the other end of that counter were these loving customers and people that were gravitating to me, paying me compliments on top of compliments, customers that knew not of each other and were giving me the same type of compliments. Oh, what is your name? Oh my God, that is so beautiful. What does it mean? Oh, tomorrow in Spanish, my dad named me that. Oh, it is so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Have you ever modeled? Who did your makeup? Where did you get that choker? The same compliments. Another one. Oh, you look like you're African. Your bone structure is phenomenal. You look like Nefertiti. Nefertiti, Nefertiti. They used to hear those same compliments and get sickened by theirs. It just was, some of them had to leave the proximity, had to leave the vicinity, leave from near me, from the way I used to be with the customers. It made them sick to their stomach. And so Nannoue, when I first got up there, was going by Naika, because there was something indicative in the name Naika. It was Americanized, and probably something she was using in school prior to as well, to fit more in, you know, distance herself from Nannoue. That was different to me. I love Nannoue. It was exotic. I never heard it before. It felt good to say. But she only had people, and if you would call her that, she would check you. My name is Naika. But when she would start to see people react to my name being so different and want to know the background, she started to, and change her name tag to Nannoue, and want to go from Naika to Nannoue. When she would see the customers go all in and go on and on about my hair and my makeup, she started wearing makeup too. And then there came the trend of chokers, when I was wearing them way before it was a trend. I used to wear my mother and grandmother's chokers. That was my shit long before. Almost every girl in the store started wearing chokers, including Nannoue. Like, everything I was doing, she would do. And then be sickened of me getting compliments from customers, like, in my interaction. But a lot of the girls did not actually like the job. I loved it. I lived. And it would make them sick for customers to come out of their line, come to mine, because the energy was so positive, so radiant. And so Nannoue was like a Libra herself, in constant advancement herself, but obviously and clearly felt me on her toes, like right behind her, right, you know, about to replace her maybe, and got on this whole wave, you know, and was actually one of the primary orchestrators befriended my ex, and just any opportunity to gossip, treat me like shit, whether it was to my face or behind my back. Bro, I even gained a respect for Nannoue because she didn't even give a fuck, bro. Who was around? If she didn't fuck with you, it was across the motherfucking board. And in that sense, at least she was a real bitch. And all the time with her hate. You know what I'm saying? And so, one of those first haters of me, but now also one of the first replicators. Lo and behold, behind the scenes, I came to find out all the while that the management was getting a lot of compliments about me. That had a lot to do with my move up. That was never officiated. But then compliments on my name or my jewelry and my makeup, and they would be telling the other girls to be like me. Oh, well, do you see the way Minyata is with the customers, the way she wears her hair, the way she does her makeup? You girls should be doing the same thing, but keeping it away from me that I was the muse of the store. And then the resentment became more clear. These were all things I found out later, and why the hate train was so strong. And so sometime later, Nannoue, I've heard anyway, found love. She's married now. Seemed like she's a happier girl. I heard ended up working at a check cashing place sometime later because she left. She left because the store sometime later ended up being robbed, and she was the one that got robbed. The irony. But she was one of my primary haters. And all I can say to Nannoue is, girl, get your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the while, you're a Libra too. Like, you're fabulous too. It shouldn't make you feel less special because someone is able to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're young. You had your whole life ahead of you. You were in school. You had both of your parents in your life. You're from Haiti somewhere, but you're in this country now. Like, you're educating yourself. You're living the at that time, at least, we're living the American dream. What more do you want? But low key and behind the scenes, this is a whole nother argument. There's always been tension between Black Americans and Haitians and Africans too. And when they first got to this country, they felt mocked. They felt clowned. Before they got to this country, they envied the life of Black Americans. They're indoctrinated when they're brought over to this country by white supremacists, and a lot of them have the same ideology and look at us the same way and will make the same commentaries about us. And so they're in direct competition with us on these workplaces, and put in position to replace us specifically and be the better us. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, and so all the while had envied us when they were back in their country and take a lot of pride in feeling as though they're replacing us. This whole happening in the country, everybody losing their jobs, everybody being back to square one, everybody being at the forefront of witnessing discrimination, racism, things like sexism, as we all are, and certain revelations about this country and its foundation and its people, its Black people, to be specific. It's crazy because finally it's an unveiling, and for those that have looked at us and said that we're either lazy or ungrateful or you know, or not focused, and all of those stereotypes and cliches, like, now it's an international, a worldwide lens on something that was just our vision and our Black American experience. Is now a global it will never, I feel like, be a global experience, but like it's a global eye on it now. And so you can no longer look at us and say the same things and blame us for our own stations and what have you made. But in this workplace, and a lot of them that I moved on to thereafter, I found less and less Black Americans and more foreigners, and with the same ideologies and perceptions and outlooks of us as a common white man, the same ignorances and prejudices. And so, to someone like Nannoue, I would say, my dear, be thankful for me and my Black American experience, because it opened up the door for you. Without me, there would have not been a you. And so, you should have been the one rolling out the red carpet and door, because it's off of the blood, sweat, tears of my ancestors that yours came in and got to ride a wave and had doors opened, because of my history and my heritage and my ancestors off of my back, my friend. You owe me. I don't owe you nothing. And we're talking spiritually, not literally. We're talking ancestrally. Understand that when you see me, that if there was no me, there would never be you. Miss Nannoue.